Welcome back to the RYOKO Show, the podcast that inspires and empowers you to create the life you truly love. I'm RYOKO. Today, I want to talk about one of the most important steps toward creating success in life, which is to take action. Have you ever heard the saying, universe rewards action? The world doesn't pay you for what you know, but what you do. What is the difference between people who achieve what they want and people who don't? Taking action seems to be the main difference between people who achieve what they want in life, people who are successful, and people who don't achieve what they want in their life. Because having clear vision, purpose, knowing where you want to be, setting goals, turn those goals into small actionable steps are important, but if you don't take any actions, it's hard to get to where you want to be. And successful people, they don't only take actions for few months or a year. They keep taking actions until they achieve what they want. So meantime, they fail more than people who don't achieve what they want, and they make more mistakes, but because they learn from their mistakes, they course correct and keep staying in the game, they get to where they want to be. So if we want to achieve something in our life, actions are required. And when we take actions, we create momentum. One action leads to another thing, and that action leads to another step. So we create this momentum and we trigger things that will carry us toward our success. So we start to attract opportunities to meet new people who support us, or people who can introduce you to other people who can support us, or you can attract opportunities to learn new skills, or even attract money that you need to create success. So as high achievers and successful people, and you can also see from the history, those people who achieve in life, they are massive action takers. And we know that it's important to take actions, and by taking action, we create momentum, we increase our self-esteem, increase confidence, because if we don't take action and then just plan and plan, we don't know what plan works and what doesn't. And by actually getting into motion, we slowly start to step out of our comfort zone. And by doing so, we build confidence. We are not born with confidence. We build confidence by taking small risks and survive them. But why is it that sometimes we procrastinate? We sometimes feel hesitant to take actions. It's the fear, isn't it? So fear shows up, and even those people who are massive action takers, they also feel fear, but they don't let fear stop them from moving forward, and they don't see mistakes, failures, or fear as a stop sign. They just deal with those roadblocks and they keep moving toward what they want. But when we have this fear, what do we do to go beyond our fear? First, I want to share how fear shows up, because fear is not only that makes us feel anxious or afraid, but fear can also show up as self-doubt, perfectionism, confusion, and procrastination. So all these are different forms of fear, and they are trying to make sure that we stay in the comfort zone. Even though the comfort zone is not comfortable for us, at least we are familiar to that space, and our brains don't like us to step out of that comfort zone, because brain's main job is to keep us safe in that safe zone, where your brain can predict what's coming next and conserve energy. For us to step out of that comfort zone and go after our dreams, that requires enormous energy, and for our brains, that's not an efficient way to use our energy. So brain is trying to do its our brains are trying to do their best to keep us safe. So when we want to do something new, when we want to challenge something, it creates this fear, and then fear as self-doubt, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and confusion. By knowing this, that these are the form of fear, we can deal with them. So when you have this perfectionism, what do? I'm a recovering perfectionist, so before I used to work so much on something until I feel that my work is perfect, and I was pursuing that perfect work, so I spent so much time and so much energy. And what I learned from my experience of being perfectionist is that it's so exhausting, and at the end you feel burnout. And what happens after you experience burnout? You don't want to try again. You feel like creating success is a lot of work, and you hesitate because you don't want to spend hours sacrificing your social life or sleep. So I didn't want to go back to that space, so I stopped taking massive actions because of that. And sometimes we are hesitant to take actions because we are afraid of being rejected. When we take actions, we will face rejection because we don't get yes at one shot. We need to try many different things. We need to ask many different people to get a yes. But because we don't like to feel rejected, because we don't want to face that disappointment, we tend to hesitate to take action. And another thing that can show up is your past experiences where you felt disappointed. Maybe you wanted to get promoted and then you didn't get the promotion you wanted. You wanted to ask someone out and then you couldn't go out with that person, so you felt disappointment. So that disappointment from the past also keeps you from moving toward what you want because you don't want to feel disappointed again. And sometimes we take those feedbacks so personally that when somebody says no, we tend to think that they are saying no to ourselves, like our value. I used to take things so personally when somebody says no, or when somebody says you are not the good candidate, then I felt like I was not worthy of pursuing what I wanted. So when I came to Canada, I wanted to go back to the education field, but because I didn't have degree from Canada in education, I couldn't be a teacher, and I really wanted to teach something. I wanted to impact people in education field, but I couldn't. And the word that I received from schools where I visited is that I am not marketable. Like, it's very strange to market people who are not native speaker to teach Spanish. So that comment, I took it so hard, and I never wanted to get rejected again. So I just chose the path where I knew that my Spanish would be an advantage, which was international business. So when I felt really stuck in life, I thought about going back to pursuing my dream again. But as soon as I entertained that idea, this fear showed up. This fear saying that I don't want to feel disappointed. I don't want to be told that I am not marketable. And I don't want to face rejection. I don't want to make phone calls because I don't want to feel that disappointment in my body, and then that leads to my low self-esteem. So I just didn't want to deal with all that. And then my fear showed up as confusion because I was avoiding those disappointments, rejection, and feeling like I'm not worthy. I told myself, I am so confused and I have no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But now I know how the fear shows up in different forms. So that confusion that I believed that it was true was also fear trying to keep me in the comfort zone. So how do we step out of the comfort zone then? It's important to understand that we have the power to create the image in our mind. So fear is just false experience appearing real, because our brains don't know the difference between what's real in life and the image we vividly create in our mind. When we play those scary movies in our mind, we are actually creating fear by ourselves. So we are scaring ourselves. So if we are capable of creating the image in a negative way, we are also capable of creating more positive image where you are pursuing your dream, you are networking with people, you are asking your boss for a raise, or you are asking someone out. You can play those movies in your mind as well. And when you play those images that will help you step out of the comfort zone, then you will be more willing to take that first step. And like I mentioned, when you keep taking action, that creates momentum. So if you take one action, that will lead to something else. And from there, you take another action. So once you take one step ahead, next step will show up. So you don't need to know all the steps to get to where you want to be. You just decide where you want to be, and ask yourself, what is the first step today to get closer to where I want to be? And also ask these questions. What is the cost of not taking action? What is the cost of staying where you are? And think about your life in 3 years, 5 years. What is the cost? And play that movie and see how you feel. And at the same time, ask another question, which is, then what is the benefit of taking that first action, first step, and creating the momentum, attracting resources that you need, and living the best life? So like a movie director, you can play those two movies, and it's up to you which movie you want to play more in your mind, because you have control of the image you create in your mind. And another thing that's important is when you take action, you set goals, and then from there you plan what actions to take. That's one way of taking action. Another thing is when you are in the momentum, you are in the present moment and connecting to that future that you want to live, inspiration comes. So you can take inspired action. Maybe when you are quiet, when you're with yourself in a quiet space doing meditation, or when you are taking shower, ideas come. And by taking those ideas and put them into action, that's an inspired action. And inspired action can lead to something that you didn't imagine possible at the beginning. So for example, for me, inspired action was when I was looking for an apartment in Mexico City, I did what I thought that would lead me to finding an apartment, which was to go through the listing and then just contact the properties that was available. So I just made a phone call, scheduled a visit. But one day I said, this is not leading to anything, and I just didn't find the apartments that I like. So my inspired action was just go to the neighborhood where you want to live in. Then maybe you can walk around and see if there are any signs. So I did that, and that led to signing the contract, and I ended up living in a studio apartment in a beautiful area where that time average rent was like maybe $300 to $400. I only paid $99 because it was a studio apartment. The owner didn't want to rent to anybody, because that place was occupied by the people who used to clean the apartment and live there, but he stopped using that space for rental. But because I was only one person, and then I was trying to settle down in Mexico, so he gave me that offer. Thanks to that inspired action, I ended up living in a really nice area in Mexico City. So to get to where you want to be, affirmation, visualization, setting goals, having purpose, all those things are important. But remember, one of the most important thing that moves your needle toward where you want to be much faster is to take action. So we hear the phrase ready, aim, fire. Successful people's, their order is different. They get ready, they fire, and then they course correct and they aim. So their way is ready, fire, aim. So they don't wait until everything is perfect. They don't wait until all the things are lined up for them. As soon as they get ready, maybe 70-60%, then they just go. They take action. From there, they learn. So by taking action, they get feedback, and from the feedback, from the mistakes they made, they course correct and they keep going. So whatever the goal that you have, whatever the thing that you want to pursue in life, ask these questions. What is the cost of not taking action, and what is the benefit of taking action? And what is the first thing you can do today to move the needle toward where you want to be? Even small action is important. Small actions over time create huge leap from where you are to where you want to go. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked the episode, please subscribe and rate and review and share it with your friend. And if you haven't already, go to the show notes and grab the free guide to build a foundation to transform your life. Until next time, keep shining.